think I might have bought a lemon. The thicknesser. This was a garage sale find. I'm not lying when I say this, I literally don't know if it starts. This is exactly how I picked it up. It was this dirty, but as you can see, it's just full of sawdust, full of dirt. I want to take it apart before I switch it on, just in case anything's lodged or stuck inside. And if we get it going, which I hope we do, then I want to actually run through a few, you know, how to use a thicknesser and that sort of thing. Okay, so obviously it needs a big brush deal. I might just do that now. Just in there, you should be able to see we have a blade. I'm just going to check to see if it spins. And it does spin, but it's not obviously spinning freely. I just got to be careful of where I put my fingers so I don't get them caught in the blade, but that's the first good sign. These little scourer pads here, they're actually quite good for getting rust off. I have used them before, but let's see if we can get these posts here, any of the rust off, to make them just move a little bit more freely. Have a look at how that's turned out. That's just after literally a minute. I'm going to now go around. I didn't think that'd work that good, to be honest. I'm going to now go around and do all them and see if I can bring these back to life as well. Just have a look at how good these two bars have come out literally after a minute compared to the other ones. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just give the whole thing a wipe over. Okay, it's time to reassemble this little back section here. So I'm just going to put this back on. Okay, that's the back on. To be honest, I'm actually really happy with how it's looking. I just want to get this old base that the previous owner put on it off. Okay, it just pulls straight off. Lift this up. Okay. Let's plug it in and fingers crossed that it makes some sort of noise. Let's set this down to, let's set it to 18. Let's see what the finish is like. What I can easily see from this is that the blades need to be replaced. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but there's definitely some nail holes or some little chips in the blades, and that's what's causing this little rib part here. I'm just going to try and see if I put it into another section of the thicknesser, whether that makes a difference, because the chips in the blade, they could be in one section. So let's try another area and see if we get this out a bit smoother. I'm going to drop it down to 17 now, drop it another millimeter. A bit nicer. It actually took out some of those ribs, but there is a little bit of tear out, which is also not a good sign. I think it's a sign of blunt blades. Let's give it one more crack. When I'm turning it on, there's a lot of sparks coming from the motor and it doesn't look safe. I'm going to show you what I mean. Over here is the switch, turn it on. In here, in this little section in here, this is actually where the motor is. Watch what happens when I switch this on. I might take it in somewhere maybe to get looked at one of the tool shops locally. But I hope I didn't just do all that work for nothing. So what do thicknesses actually do? Well, as the name suggests, it basically reduces the thickness of timber. Okay, so if this piece of timber here is 18 millimeters thick, which it probably currently is, what a thicknesser does is it makes, if I was to thickness this piece here, it would come down to 17 millimeters, 16 millimeters. Whatever I set this cutter head to, it'll change the thickness of the timber. It also makes things parallel. So whatever the bottom surface is, it's going to do the exact same thing to the bottom up the distance that I sent this guide here to. Now, the problem is if your timber is not straight to start with, this thicknesser will not straighten timber. I think it's a bit of a thing that a lot of people think is, oh, if I buy a thicknesser, I can straighten my twisted or warped or cupped timber. It's not the case. What a thicknesser will do is it will follow the line of your timber. Now, a thicknesser works in conjunction really well with two other tools. You've got a surface planer and a table saw. And generally what you'll need to do is you'll need to use the table saw or the surface planer first before you come over here and use this guy. Because you need one straight edge. Once you get one straight edge, the thicknesser will replicate it. It'll make it parallel on the other side. For any softwoods, so pines, those sort of woods, you generally can push your machine up to 2 millimeters. Sometimes, I know that one at work we have, it's quite a big machine. We can push that to 3 millimeters sometimes. With a hardwood, this here is just a piece of Tassie oak, or it might be Vic ash. Red gum, black butt, anything hard, a hardwood, you wouldn't want to really go above 1 to 2 millimeters, depending on what machine you have and what sort of cutter head. Now, another thing to think about with a thicknesser is if you want to take the height off this board here, it's probably going to be a bit tricky to push this through the thicknesser. Generally, you know, when you're putting your boards upright in the thicknesser, they can roll over. Another quick tip, if you're doing multiple boards, put your pieces together. I do this quite often, you know, sometimes 2, 3, even 4 thick, push them together and push them through the thicknesser together at once, and they will generally stay a lot straighter. Another thing to think about is the actual length of the board you're passing through. Now, this piece here will not work in a thicknesser, generally. It's too short. I mean, from this edge to this edge here. There's one roller at the front and one roller at the back. The first roller's job is to catch your timber and start passing it through. And the second roller is to catch the back of your timber and continue to pass it right through and out of the machine. Now this piece here, I don't think would make both rollers. You must always thickness with the grain. And what I mean by that is if you look at these timbers here, obviously we can see that the grain is running this way. We look at this piece of hardwood here, you can also see the grain's running that way. You can never put a piece of timber through a thicknesser against the grain. What it's going to do is it's actually going to tear out the timber and you're not going to get a good finish. Right, I'm going to keep you guys updated with what I'm going to do with this machine. Hopefully I can get it fixed or looked at, and maybe it's not even a big deal. I'm still going to make this video. I think it's important for me to share everything with you guys, my wins or my losses. So I think it's a bit of a learning curve for me. Don't buy cheap stuff. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe the video. It's really going to help me out and my channel, especially because I'm just starting off.